Well, the big headlines this morning linked to what happened yesterday. A second U.S. reporter beheaded by ISIS. There was another headline in recent days. Remember the Fort Hood shooter, that terrorist that took down all these soldiers at Fort Hood? Well, he wants to be a member of the Islamic State Caliphate. What does that mean? The global security expert Kevin Mellott joining us on 710 KURV. Kevin, what is this guy angling for?
Well, what he's doing is acknowledging that the ISIS or ISIL or whatever the name of the week is the group that's going to reestablish the caliphate. The caliphate is the ancient ruling structure, if you will, for the hardcore Islamics, and they want to recreate it. And this has been going on for 1,000 years. They want to recreate that part of history in a modern time, and so he's acknowledging that he believes they're the guys that are actually going to do it. And the real bad part about that is, since he's already killed Americans and he was inside the American military, is by him giving them this credibility, it could cause even more recruitment to flow their way.
Okay. Now, he's just looking for publicity, and, of course, unfortunately, talking about it right now, I guess we're giving him some of that. But who can bestow this citizenship on him? I mean, all he can get is publicity out of this. That no one can say, okay, you're part of it now, or can ISIS say, hey, we adopt him as one of our own, or something like that. And does that complicate things legally?
No. Well, yeah. In their mind, it doesn't, because they believe that they are a state. So kind of keep this in mind when they came up with the ISIS Islamic State. They believe they have formed their own legitimate government. Okay. No matter how crazy we may think it is, to them, it's real, and that they have a structure of a government, and that structure represents the ancient caliphate. So in the eyes of the guys that he sent the letter to, the command structure of ISIS.
Whoa. Hang on a second. He sent a letter to these guys?
Yeah, he sent a letter to them.
How do we know that? How do we let that letter get out of prison?
Even his attorney talked about the letter being sent. That's a good question. I mean, you got – see, here's the problem. A lot of people don't understand all the long-range implications of what the current administration does. But when they tried him as a criminal, as a workplace violence incident instead of a terrorist, he got rights as a prisoner in the criminal justice system. And those rights include mail correspondence and so forth. So they were a total mess. They should have tried him as a terrorist and shipped him to a lockup, especially for terrorists, and never called it workplace violence. But by doing that, they've given him the ability to communicate.
Before I punt it over to Tim, because we're kind of short on time, but listen, the whole thing of this state, Islamic State that they declare. Okay. So we have an organization that declares itself a state. How about the United States declaring war on the Islamic State and be done with it?
Well, exactly. The hardest thing about Al-Qaeda and the other terrorist groups is they never had a state that they belong to. If these guys want to be a state and they staked out territory and say that's our jurisdiction, it's pretty easy to know where to go whack them. And so I agree with you. We should just declare war on that particular state, and anywhere their military is, we kill them.
Global security expert Kevin Mellott joining us on 710 KURV. Do you see any friends, if ever we were to move in that direction, where we say, okay, we declare war on Islamic State? Who do you think would join us in the Middle East in this war against Islamic State?
Well, I think if we were a trustworthy ally, you'd probably see the monarchies line up, because they want nothing to do with these guys, and these guys threaten their area. If you look at what they're trying to do, the caliphate is Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, southern part of Turkey. All those other countries they plan to take over to put in the original caliphate. So all those countries should be lining up with us, except we're unpredictable. And we don't, as a country, we haven't held the line on anything. And we're not hammering these guys when we know when we could. We've got good intelligence. So until we become predictably reliable as an ally again, I don't know that anybody will side with us.
Do you think that there can be consensus in that region of the world that, yes, this is very, very bad for business as usual over there, and that they somehow must unite, including strange bedfellows, Iran and Syria? Get into this coalition to stamp this out and eradicate it as quickly as possible?
Yeah, if you look at Syria, they've never really been a big religious player on the whole deal, so I'm sure Assad would go along with whatever everybody else comes up with. But there's no question that Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, which have fearsome military capability, that they could easily all get together and go after these guys if there was a leader in the group.
Is that coalition being built right now?
I don't know. You know, we thought they were going to build it 2 years ago. You got to remember, ISIS has been getting powerful for the last 4.5, 5 years. So.
And who's funding them, by the way? Where are they getting their cash?
Well, they were getting it by raiding villages, and then the big cash crop was when they started hitting northern Iraq. They hit a bank and got $550 million plus.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so there we go. Kevin, thank you for your time. Kevin Mellott, global security expert, joining us on 710 KURV.